Hello and welcome to Dev Diary number 11, Citizen Simulation and Lifepath for Cities Skylines 2. And today we are taking a look at how the citizens actually work and how their life path progress. And without much further ado, let's jump into it.
You might think that city building is all about glass and steel, bricks and mortar, tarmac, smokestacks, and iron tracks. But it's also about joy and laughter, sadness and tears, struggles, triumphs, even love.
First thing, have you noticed how many different scenes we can see in this footage? I think, as we mentioned before, there was quite a lot of questions about, oh, they all look the same. And obviously, there was better footage. I think this is still better. But it's good to see that there is a lot more changes and individuals than actually all looking the same. So you start seeing a lot of this throughout the video, and just pay attention that you see slim people, you see larger people, you see diversity, difference in colors, in clothes, all of that. Also, obviously, you see children, teenagers, adults, and elderly people as well.
That's because city building is about people. While the behavior...
Now, this statement is very, very true for the game. This city building is about the people and not actually just about the city itself. The city is where everything happened. But what you're building a place for the citizens. And they are the ones that will tell if our city is thriving or if it's failing to do their purpose. This is a little bit of a difference in mindset. When playing Cities Skylines 1 and 2, you actually think about the people and not just the city design. So I think this is one big difference in there that could be a good thing depending on how you see it, but also could be secondary to what a lot of people like to do, which is just design cities. But this is something we'll learn as we play the game, and maybe that'll be second nature as it is in Cities Skylines 1.
The behavior of your city's citizens is rooted in deep simulation. They aren't guided by ones and zeros.
I love how we have quite a few teams all bald. I think like it's a trend in the city happening here. Like they all don't have hairs. But fantastic.
They follow very real human impulses on their life path. A life path encompasses major events that shape their lives. It starts with being born in or moving to your city. Everything after that, from their first day of school to college graduation, their first big promotion to retirement, their nervous first date to tying the knot, is just another step on their life path.
And what is really cool is that you can track every single event of their life track, their life path. As she said, there is a lot of events that can happen throughout someone's lives, and this happens in the city, and you can see and follow to see how things are progressing, and even see how a change that you make in the city actually impacts this thing. It's pretty cool.
Most days will be uneventful. Citizens will follow a routine of attending school, working, and spending free time with friends and family. But like the rest of us, they'll have good days and bad. Citizens can fall ill, suffer accidents, lose their job.
Let me just go back a little bit and just take a look at this menu over here. So you have a happy citizen that's also sick. So this person is currently unable to work and may die if their condition doesn't improve, which basically means they're waiting, and you can see here at the icon, they're waiting for an ambulance. If the ambulance doesn't get in, or doesn't arrive in time, these people may die. There's also a senior citizen, educated, that belongs to the household of the Johnson family. It's a wealthy person with an address. And yes, that is, I think, confirmed. Every single building has their own address. It's retired, and that is one vehicle arriving, which is the ambulance that has been dispatched for this really complete set of information for you to make any decisions there.
Suffer accidents, lose their job and become homeless, commit crimes and face the consequences. On the flip side,
I also love this view because you do have some sort of park in here. I don't know if it's a park or just the grass at the front of a building. Looks like it's just part of this specific building in here. But people laying down on grass, enjoying the warmth of the sun, is actually very, very common in several cities around the world. And this just captures that special moment, or sometimes just lunchtime, you're just relaxing a little bit, waiting to get back to work, or just need 5 minutes between one meeting and another, and you're just there relaxing a little bit. It's just so realistic.
Citizens reap the benefits when your city thrives. These happy citizens stay and contribute as they get older, until it's their time to line up at heaven's pearly gates. Happiness is something you can actually measure in Cities Skylines too.
Some really interesting factors in here. You can see what actually improves or make your happiness worse in the city. And this is extremely powerful to understand if you need to make change or not. So as you can see here, wealth is actually pretty high on the list there. Reliable mail service. Yes, people will complain about not having mail service in the city, as we know, and this is an important factor in there. Taxes, entertainment, size of homes, leisure time rather, not just having availability of place to have leisure, but having time to do those. Education service, noise pollution, in this case, affecting negatively, reliable healthcare, and reliable internet service. Keep in mind that this can be positive or negative. So this could be something that's good in your city, or could be bad and being making them actually feel unhappy. So keep that in mind.
It's a score that tallies an individual's health and well-being. You can track happiness on each citizen's information panel. View the panel for their household to learn what's contributing or detracting from their collective happiness. Get the basics right, and citizens will basically be happy. Ensure they have a reliable electricity supply, clean water.
I just love that scene because you can see that buildings can individually light up. And it's like each apartment has their own set of lights. And it's just so cool to have those details in the city.
Where they have a reliable electricity supply, clean water, decent plumbing, and regular garbage collection. Minimize ground, air, and noise pollution. Keep a lid on crime so citizens feel safe. High-speed internet is pretty much...
I just noticed something that I haven't before. Can you see that this police car is actually going backwards in there? Like, maybe that's how they leave the building? That's actually so cool. I hope that's how it works.
High-speed internet is pretty much a must-have, and so is a suitable home. Families need space, so they'll benefit from living in larger homes in low-density areas where kids can roam freely. Small apartments are best for singles and students who want low rents in busy areas where they can go out and socialize. Healthcare is non-negotiable. Without it, citizens can die from illness and injuries. Even with good sanitation and low pollution, citizens need medical facilities near enough to travel on their own steam or by ambulance for routine care.
Very important.
This is especially important for your city's elderly population, whose health won't always be tip-top.
Also, something to notice in here is that in terms of happiness, there are two main factors in there. So the well-being and the health. So it's not just being healthy and having medical service, but having a good well-being as well, having leisure available, not being living in areas with high pollution. This is all affects the happiness.
Seniors are actually in the last of the 4 life stages your citizens will experience. They might even live in a multi-generational home with citizens in the other life stages, including children, teens, and adults. And look out for 4-legged family members too.
They're so cute.
Keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening with your citizens by viewing their Lifepath journal.
This is awesome. Like, I really like this. Being able to follow someone and get know specifically what has happened, it's just really cool. And I think my feeling is that we can use this to actually understand the change that we make in the city or areas that we might be improving, and just track events that actually happen on someone's lives. Just bringing that factor of citizen focus a little bit to the forefront of the game, instead of it's just like, you don't actually know, but this happened, you can actually follow what's happening and understand how their decisions are affecting their life as well.
It records everything that happens to them from the moment you click follow. It'll show you personal details, their happiness score, and their Chirper feed. Oh, and one more thing, Chirper is back.
And that's big. That's really big. And not just because we love Chirper. No, because it was pretty annoying on Cities Skylines 1. And I think we all, if not almost all, I should say, would turn that off. But in here, it plays a role and might be interesting to keep an eye on what's happening. I'll let her talk about it, and then I might just add one thing or another.
Expanded and better integrated, Chirper now gives citizens a voice. They'll talk about what's going on in their lives and what's happening in the city. If their chirps get likes, you know just how important that topic is to them and other citizens.
Now, this is what is really important. So if people are just complaining about something and they're just complaining because they like to complain, no one will care about that. And so it's not just having the message that is a problem, but if, for example, you have over 9,000 people complaining about how incredibly noisy the city is, then you have to pay attention to that. Like this one, so many people getting sick. These things that are very targeted area, not the whole city. So you may want to look into specific areas, but the ones like this one that you have so many likes in there, I think this is where we have to pay attention and use that in our favor to make sure that we make updates that where they actually are needed.
This can be helpful when they chirp to complain about underperforming city services and applaud their excellent work. When it comes to the health, well-being, and happiness of your citizens, think quality, not quantity. By creating places, spaces, and experiences that enrich their lives, you'll discover what city building is all about.
It's really, really cool to see how that all is going to work. I think it's just one of those things that is really hard to talk just about the citizens without talking about everything else. But as we know, we have happiness, and happiness is affected by well-being. Well-being would be satisfying the basic needs like electricity and clean water, or sewage treatment, garbage collection, and pollution. All of that affects well-being, crime as well. So that is all that. But it's also affected by health, and healthy citizens also make people happier. And that's also affected, again, by pollution, sewage backing up, garbage not being collected. All of these things can play a role and affect everything in your city, or the things in there that then will affect, for example, if they're sick, they won't go to work. If companies are not having their employees coming to work, then they will suffer a penalty, and then they won't produce much, and then you see your money, you won't have as much money because someone is sick. So it's crazy how that is a chain of things happening in the city, and it's all affected by one single thing. And it's all involved citizens, if you think about it. Now, we covered this before in other Dev Diaries, where you have your age groups, you have children teams, adults, and seniors. Of course, they can be families, they can be singles, and depending on what they are, they have their individual preference. Like, for example, a larger home for families, or smaller apartments for students or single people. So this all affects a little bit. If they are elderly, they will sometimes prefer to spend on finance items, and if they are teens, they will prefer electronics. So there are those type of difference as well that will play a role in the game. Talked about the citizen life path and following them on the journal and the Chirper on how that can provide some valuable information to you as well. Now, again, I think we covered that in bits and pieces on other dev diaries, but we have 5 levels of education: uneducated, poorly educated, educated, well-educated, and highly educated. Each one of those levels will be achieved by one type of education or building, education building, if you may. So you have the elementary school, you have high school, you have college, and you have university. They started uneducated, going to elementary school, they get poorly educated, high school educated, and so on. That's how that works. Of course, this also has an impact on the education level needed for employment. Different types of company provides different types of complexity or complex jobs. And the more complex the company is or the skill level in those jobs are, the higher the education that they will need. So that also play a role in the city. And if you don't have enough education, you might not see those companies coming into your city as well. So you have to find that balance in there. Now, we also mentioned some criminal behavior. There's a very low chance that people become criminals, but it's highly increased if their well-being is low. So if you don't take care of their well-being, they might become criminals and your city might become a criminal paradise. So just keep that in mind. There is also the tourists. So tourists will be attracted. The more attractive your city is, the more tourists you see coming. Of course, adding attractions, landmarks, parks, and things like that will increase city attractiveness and they will come to your city. Some of the buildings that you put in the city in commercial areas will become hotels, and the tourists will use those hotels to stay in your city. And they'll try to find the best place around that hotel to actually go and visit. So it's important to have those type of buildings around the leisure areas in your city. I think we mentioned these on the weather depth and diary, but weather also affects citizens and tourist behavior, with them choosing outdoors activities in sunny and warm conditions and indoor activities on rainy weather or on cold weather as well. Now, each citizen, and I think that's the last point that we need to cover, they have a few conditions. They can be sick, and if they're sick, they can't work. As they are sick, they have an increased danger of dying if they don't get medical attention. They can also get injured, and injured citizens also cannot work, and they can be injured in a traffic accident, fire, or building collapse, or even natural disaster, of course. So also medical treatment needs to be achieved in there. They can be homeless, and they are the ones that cannot pay the rent where they live, and they don't have the means to move into another home, so they don't have a place of residence or a home to live. So they will live in the park and they become homeless. They can just be unwell, and unwell means low well-being. So their happiness will decrease, their work will be negatively affected as well, and they're also at risk of becoming criminals. They can be weak, and weak, that means they have a low health value that decrease their happiness and also negatively affect their work. The citizens with low health, they are at a high risk of becoming sick as well. And when a weak citizen becomes sick, their health value decreases to very low, putting them at an increased risk of dying. So that's depending on these citizen conditions, you can have various effects on not just at their personal lives, at work, and again, it creates that chain of events that might contribute for your city not going so well. And they can be distressed, so that's when they are in danger or they are trapped. Or, for example, if they are in danger when they are in a burning building, or while trapped citizens are involved in a building collapse and are buried under the rubble. So definitely they need help, and they might die if they are unable to escape. And they can be evacuated as well if they are in an emergency shelter. So, and those are all the conditions that a citizen can have. But I really hope you enjoy this David diary. We are on the Dev Diary 11. The next one will be sound and music, and we have a total of 13. So we have 2 more to go. And then after that, we do have a lot of fun with playing the game, I hope. Also keep in mind, on the 8th of September, I'll be playing Cities Skylines. That might be or a live stream or a video. We're still working how that's gonna work. But I have early access to the game and I'll be able to show you some of the game mechanics and how the actual gameplay actually goes. So I hope you join me on the 8th of September. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment section. Join our Discord server, the link's in the description. And a big thank you to every single one of you for all the support, for all the likes, comments, suggestions, for just watching the videos. Every single one of you make it worth it. So thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.